Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alex, and today I'll be your host for Cuentong Barbero. Our special guest today, he comes from a business-oriented family. However, he decided to go in a very artistic path as a film producer and a professional barber. He is also a content creator and currently studying film, and he's about to graduate on his bachelor's degree. He's also the director of this podcast, actually. Let us welcome Mr. Roy Coe.
Yeah, good afternoon, guys. Thank you. That's such a good introduction, Alex. That I feel bad for my introduction.
That's
for
all
you.
right. No worries, bro. How you been, bro? How's your family? Everyone's all good?
Everyone's all good. Back in the Philippines, and we're just cruising in
Nice.
Melbourne, cruising in Preston. That's the
area?
Yeah.
Preston. Sick.
Mm.
So let's get straight into it, man. What's your story, your life before barbering, and how you got into barbering?
Damn, you went straight into it. I was
Sorry, bro.
How are you, bro? Come on.
Very good.
Come
Family's
on.
good. Family's healthy. I'm sure you're grinding as well.
Yeah.
Before you say anything, you finished at 1 a.m. yesterday. What did you do yesterday? Last night, actually. Before this podcast.
Yeah, so we're currently filming a short film that we're doing for uni. It's our final project for the course. It's like the biggest film we're about to make, the hardest and the most prepared we've ever been.
Nice.
And the past 2 weeks, we're just, filming, going through the production process, and yesterday was the last day, and no one wanted to film today. That's why we had to finish everything yesterday, because everyone thought, we have this momentum, let's finish it today. And we finished at like 1:30, packed up the gear, transferred all the footages, got back home at 2.
Nice. 2 o'clock. You
2
slept
o'clock,
at 3.
slept at 3, and then Alex was
Okay.
messaging me like, you want to make content tomorrow? I'm like, for sure, bro, for sure.
Never stop.
Never stop. And we were supposed to have a gig today with Shirachi.
Yeah, another collab coming up. Cancelled though. Coming
Cancelled.
soon. So yeah.
I don't know about it though, but the music video is on Saturday, so
Oh.
I don't think we're gonna make it.
Yeah.
But there will,
See
I
if
think
it's meant to be.
if it's
you'll
meant to
align,
be,
yeah.
it's meant to be, or
Yeah.
maybe another opportunity will come up. But yeah, man.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Back to you, bro. What were you gonna say?
What was I gonna say?
Life before barbering
Life.
and how you got into barbering.
Oof. There's a lot of variance to that. I think growing up I had different career options, but growing up in the Philippines I was always someone who grew up or who was attracted by being creative. Like since I was a kid, I would always, or my parents would always tell me to go to the shop because we had a family business which is selling cell phones, and the finance side was really good. It was like, the family was pretty well off, but my dad would always tell me to go to the shops, learn about business, and help out, and then eventually take over the business. And I knew that was like a safe pathway for me. I knew if I would, if I went to that side, or went since I was a kid, it wouldn't be as fun as I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And yeah, my brother did that, so he's taking over the business. He enjoyed it since he was a kid, but I was, I'm not going there. I'm like, if I'm gonna build, or if I'm gonna be my own person eventually, I want to make something of my own. I want to create something. I don't know what it is because I was a kid, but I wanted to make something. So I spent my childhood playing outside, playing in the streets, meeting these kids outside, and I would never be home. Like dinner time, I would never be home. I would go home at like 8 p.m. and I was like 10 years old, 8 p.m., 9 p.m. and then my mom would be like, where have you been? Blah, blah. I would have cuts and bruises everywhere.
Yeah.
Just played touchball, you know? Like, I was playing patintero.
Yeah.
That's my childhood, like, stealing stuff from other people. I don't know, man. Just doing random shit.
Patintero is the can and the slipper.
No, that's tumbang preso.
Oh, tumbang preso. Patintero is the squares.
It's you have squares and lines.
Just a guard.
Yeah, you guard and you go through that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, me and my sister would go out all the time to play that, and my sister always goes home early, and I would play more with other friends, different people around the area, and that's basically. I don't know. My imagination during that time was so wild, and slowly moving into like. Maybe that's like 10. I was 8 to 10 years old, and then when I was 11 and 12, getting into the high school, about to become high school in uni or in school.
Yeah.
I slowly moved into barkada, more like.
Oh no! Yeah.
It's not play anymore. It's slowly becoming like doing fucking stupid shit with kids and with friends, doing, just throwing rocks to other houses, things like that. Just having fun, but also making the other people upset. But I don't know. For me, it felt like even if it was a wild thing to do, or doing wild things when I was that young, it just made me feel good in a way.
Yeah.
And every time I do something, my parents would find out all the time. My mom and dad, my dad would know someone that saw it, and he would get the cinturon, the belt, and then hit me in my ass, and that was my childhood.
Discipline.
Yeah, and while doing that, I was going to school, but I never really liked studying. Never liked going to classes. My mom would always try and teach me something, but she was never strict with studies. So, while doing studies, while going out with friends, I had one friend where we slowly got interested in like making stuff, creating random shit, find
like
something.
More media?
No. This is more like
art in general.
Art in general. Yeah, we would play with wood, start carving with wood.
Very hands-on.
Very hands-on, and I enjoyed that. We would make boats that has like a motor in it, and then starts moving in the water. Like science projects like that. I got so interested in that, and I slowly moved into like making wood art. I was probably 12, 13 years old at this point. Making wood art, making guns and shit, so I could play with my friends. They buy their guns from.
You make your own.
I make my own. Like fuck, I make my own gun with a rubber.
Pellet guns, by the way, not the real.
Not the real guns. Like BB guns, pellet guns is such a big thing in the Philippines. I used to shoot a lot with the pellet guns, but I have this like gun slingshot that I made where it's like.
A rubber band or.
It's a rubber from the tires, the wheel tire. You cut it, and then you put it in the wood. You make the frame, and then you just have a lock here.
It's like a slingshot, but.
A slingshot, yeah.
But
so the hook is like that. When you press the trigger, it releases the rubber. But I was playing with slingshots as well, which is the Y. And then I slowly moved into making slingshots like that. Like woodwork. We'll put the pictures in here. I have some photos, and I was like, fuck, this is a beautiful escape. Like, I felt so good making shit like that. And I started watching history. I was 15. I was playing basketball at the same time. I was playing a lot of basketball, played for regional team, and then what happened? When I was in grade school, played for regionals, and then high school, in my second year of high school, played regionals again. And then that's when I tore my ACL on my knee. Yeah. And then my basketball career was like, went downhill, and then did my surgery, went back up normally, and then I played, I recovered, played 3-on-3 nationals. We played nationals. I was playing with my cousin and 2 other players that I played regionals with. Yeah. And like when I played that, it just didn't feel the same anymore. I just lost the passion for it, and I was short. I was like, when I had my ACL surgery, I was like just behind with everything. I had to catch up, but I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. So I moved into making blades. I was so fascinated with like metal art at that time. So from woodwork, I moved into metal art, like blacksmithing. Yo! Blacksmithing. And yeah, I started making blades and shit. I made a forge.
Pretty cool, man.
Yo.
It makes sense why you'd like barbering, you know?
Yeah, so it's at this point I was more like I was confused. I was a confused kid. Like I wasn't. I'm close with my family, but at the same time I'm not close with. Like I'm always.
Back then? Oh.
Yeah. We're close as a family, but in my head I'm always outside. It's like my mind is always outside.
Okay.
So
but your values are aligned with your family.
with the family, yeah. It's very aligned. But every time I'm with the family, I'm just always thinking about playing outside. That's what's going through my mind. And my dad, didn't like that I wasn't conscious about what's happening. I always miss people's birthdays from the family, and I'm like, fuck. And I feel bad. Every time I do that, I feel bad. I'm just like, I feel every time that happens, I forget something. I always feel like I'm not a responsible child.
Yeah.
Makes me feel that way. But they were never strict. They would just let me do what I want to do. And start making blades. I reached out to History Channel Forge in Fire champion, if you know Forge in Fire.
No, not really, but that's
it's like a competition for blacksmithing, and he's a Filipino guy. He won one season. He won one episode. I reached out to him and he became my mentor with blacksmithing. And I would send him pictures of how I build my forge, building my forge. Sorry.
30 minutes?
Oh no, it's 15 minutes. That was the old timer. Let me just reset this timer. Shit, man. See, I talk non-stop, right? Fuck. I know it.
Again, 15 minutes down. Road to 1 hour, let's go.
So where was I? So I send photos to him online messenger and show my progress as a young blacksmith. I was 15 years old at this point. And I just started hammering. I took like a big rock from the backyard, just this big rock. I used it as my anvil. Got a little bit of tools, start hammering. And I was doing this with my friend. He was always Lawrence, if you're watching this. He would always just be there. He wouldn't do it as much as I do. I would always go hard on fucking stuff. Like if I want to do it, I'm gonna do it. And I just start making blades. I remember my first blade. I made it and I named it as my ex-girlfriend's name.
Oh shit!
This is my blade. We were together at that time, and
nice.
And I was 15. I was like,
interesting.
This is the first blade I ever made. I'm gonna name it.
It's good. Fair enough. It's meaningful.
It was meaningful, and it's
that's nice.
ugly looking blade, but it had it was sharp. It can cut. And I used like carabao horns. I don't know what's calabaw in English.
I don't know either.
What?
Just call
buffalo or?
I think buffalo is different.
Calabaw. Well, basically, calabaw is the Philippines national
working horse.
national animal, right?
Yeah.
Like, national
Used
animal.
to for the farms and stuff.
Yeah, they use it for the farms, and it's got this
attached.
big horn.
Big horns.
That horn. When you polish that, when you make a handle or any woodwork, it's kind of wood. It's like a wood texture. Any horns, to be honest, like deer horns, you can make it as handles, or ram deer, bull horn. Once you polish that, it's like the shiniest. It's like mirror when you shine it. So made that blade and then kept going, started making like, after I did it for 3 years constantly, like just forging from when I was 15 to 18, just making blades. So I end up, started making swords and big blades.
Yeah.
It looks like, you can sell it. You can sell it in an auction or something.
Yeah.
But I never sold it. I never liked the
You should
idea.
have kept it up.
I have my collection.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
If I go back, I've got
Coming soon.
I can show the photos and shit. Like, got my samurai, got my kukri and shit.
Nice.
And
What year was that? 2000 and...
that's from 15 to 18.
2015 to 2018.
Yeah. But every time I go back, I make a
It's
blade.
pretty recent, yeah.
Yeah. Well, now it's 2023 now, yeah. But every time I go back, I try to make at least one blade because I miss the smell of the fire, smell of the metal burning, and the metal itself. When you grind it, it just smells. Every time I go to a construction site, I would smell it and it reminds
You
me.
get mesmerized, yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
it reminds me of that. And yeah, I did welding. At 17 years old, I did my welding professional. I got my welding certificate. I did that.
Yeah, that's good.
Because that's like, kids in summertime.
Always have something to do.
They would just play, and I would fucking go do a course.
I did the kiddie crew, but you were out there. You're doing the blacksmithing.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so blacksmithing. But I never liked the business side. I never liked to sell my stuff. I like to keep it to myself. Like, I make it, and I get so attached to it. I put so much work into it, and I keep it. My dad would always... That's the time where my dad would come in and say, if you want to do this, you're doing... Like, right now, you're doing labor. But if you want to expand and make money out of this, you're gonna start thinking about hiring people. This is the same, he was telling me at this point, same concepts as what I read in the business books that I read now. So now when I came here, I'm like, wow, I should have listened to my dad.
Yeah, but then do you think that if you changed what happened before, you wouldn't be here? Like being a curious creator and you like went against...
Not even, to be honest, like Kanye West said, I guess we'll never know.
Nice.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like if you're curious, even if you're, derailed a little bit, eventually it's gonna come out with how you want it. If you want to do it, if you really want to do it, if you're curious. But I guess the programming when I was a kid, when I was playing outside and all that programmed my mind differently than when I would be in a business. Yeah, I probably would have want to have my business at a young age at that time. But I did it, so I'm like, just play. That's all I wanted to do, play. And I never thought about, what would happen in the future. But my dad would always tell me, always think about your future. He would just plant it. He wouldn't say it, do this, do that. But since we were kids, like, just think about the future. Like, suggesting it, just suggesting it. Never said it that you should do it. He would just suggest it. Yeah. And all those suggestions came to me when I moved to Australia, when I was alone. But yeah, he said you should start hiring people and start in inventory. Put down your how many steels do you need for this blade, or with this steel. Molye, you know molye?
No, not
Spring
really.
steel for the cars.
Okay, yeah.
Because that's like a good steel for making blades. That's like good carbon steel. So he's like, in one piece of spring steel, how much will you make? And then how much is a spring steel? He starts to teach me how to calculate these things, but I was like going in my right ear, going out my left. I'm like, I'm not interested. But yeah, if I, even now, if I call my dad now, message him, he knows the answers to all my questions, really. Yeah. Which is kind of cool. But yeah, I don't know, I never took that route. I always wanted to learn it by myself.
I think as kids we always want to learn by ourselves.
Yeah.
We have to go a big loophole and then realize that what your dad said, it's just the same thing.
It's just the same thing.
You just had to make it complicated for yourself.
Yeah.
But that's the good thing. Like, it makes you feel good reflecting.
Yeah, if he didn't do that, I would have it wouldn't click to me.
100%, yeah. And you wouldn't,
I wouldn't
you wouldn't
know.
like it. Because based on what you said, you're a guy that you love to control things technically. You want to see the outcome yourself by your creation.
Yeah.
So I feel by doing that way and reflecting what your dad said, that it really clicked onto you like that. Yeah.
Which works. Like it might have not happened during that time.
Yeah.
But it happened now, which is every time I see things now, I see it clearer because of what he said.
Yeah.
And even now, he came here 3 weeks ago and he started dropping me gems again, like suggesting gems and telling me more, because we haven't seen each other for a long time, and you know he knows that I'm a bit older now, so he can tell me more stories about. Before it would probably be filtered when I was 15. There are things that he wouldn't talk about. Yeah, but now it's it's more like just two men talking to each other. We would talk about more adult things, and he would tell me that, and it would click to me. And it's good like that. I like it. And I didn't listen during that time. And all this time, by the way, you see, I said there's a lot of variants. All this time I was cutting hair on the side with my friends. All this time I was making blades, I was playing with wood and fire and shit like that. I would cut my friend's hair from time to time. Like once there would be a wave, so because we had a barber shop back home, and every one of us, me and my friends, would go to that barber shop. And what happened was I wanted to start learning cutting hair, so I started taking them at home. Probably 6 of them, 7 of them. I'll cut their hair, all of them. I would fuck it up. And the next haircut they get is from the barber shop to get it fixed. So that would, I don't know, as a kid you don't really get a haircut as often. Probably I would cut their hair every 4 months. So it's like I forget. The next time I cut their hair, I forgot what I did last time. And I would watch like old Chris Bosio tutorials when he was like in this small apartment. Like his first few videos, I would watch all that videos and how to fade.
Yeah.
And even if we had a barber shop, I didn't really learn it from there, but I saw it. I saw a lot of how they do things. So I guess I picked it up faster in a way at that time. But it wasn't consistent, so it didn't stay to me until I was 19 or something. Kept doing it for a bit. Anyways, now I'm here. Like
crazy
when I moved here, that's when all these things clicked. Like I have opportunities. And even before I went to Australia, I was studying. I wanted to be like a physical therapist or something with sports, because I got into health stuff, because I got into like healthy shit and shit. Got so huge, just lifting so much, and I wanted to do sports. Me and my cousin would play sports all the time, and then he kept doing basketball, and I kept lifting weights, and I got really big. But he was the one who told me like, maybe you should do film. But he started his YouTube channel, and he was like, can you edit this shit for me? And I didn't know how to edit.
Well, you tried it anyway.
I tried it, I tried it, editing some of his videos, and then he was teaching me a little bit, and then I started my YouTube channel.
Oh, you're saying that,
I started my YouTube channel.
Is that something that you're willing to show soon, or?
Oh yeah, fuck, we can show it. I'll show it later. But
a bit later.
I have my old intro and shit. I posted a lot of things on YouTube, and I think that's how I was really shy before, but I became really confident with talking to the camera. Not so confident still, but just posting on Instagram in general, like producing content. I want to try shit, but I think it's the YouTube foundation that got me there. Even if I didn't have enough, followers, subscribers, or views, it made me a bit more confident with things, with videos especially. And that's it. Fuck. And he said, try to do film. And then I'm like, alright, I'm gonna do film.
Yeah.
Look some places in the Philippines. And then I didn't like the schools there. My cousin told me there's an opportunity here, so moved here, studied here, and then that's it. I'm here. Wow.
Thank you for that, Roy. Very, very great.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
check
check.
It's 27. Let's just restart now. You're not sticking to one. That's the problem. You're not sticking to one. You're doing all these different things.
You did master the smithing, right? Like you put.
I put a lot of time into that.
Like you built, you put a lot of effort and time into like being obsessed to.
Yeah, I
to
got so
blacksmithing,
obsessed. I got so obsessed with it. I'll show you some photos. These are some examples of the stuff I made.
Wow, it's crazy, bro.
Not the balisong, except the balisong. I didn't make the balisong.
Cool. Very good story, by the way. If you don't follow Roy, you gotta follow him now. So, considering that you're actually a jack of all trades, and you love to build time and put effort into mastering things, how did you build obsession in barbering? And when you took it serious, I know when you start barbering and some point of your career, it's very intimidating to master some techniques or even just do some techniques. Like for example, with the scissors, like I think we spoke about this at the time, and especially when I was coming up into my career, scissors was a big fear. How did you build obsession, or what did you do? Yeah.
Obsession
It could be techniques, or like did you follow some YouTube, or did you visualize yourself at some point?
Obsession is like an interesting thing because
I think it's definitely something that people don't talk about. Like people think that barbering is very easy money. You just cut hair, you know. Like I think that's what we're here for, to dissect that stuff.
Yeah. Like if we dissect it, I feel like there's
Alright, we don't have to get too crazy.
It's
another
alright.
topic,
No,
but like,
yeah, it's alright.
as a highlight for you.
It's alright. Like, yeah, it's interesting. Like a lot of from doing all this stuff, what I've noticed is, especially in the beginning stages of trying out something, trying out a creative career, or even business, or even other stuff. I don't know if that applies to nursing. I don't have, you will have to say to that. But when you're studying something, I remember I felt this feeling when I was doing mathematics.
Wow.
My mathematics subject.
Yeah.
I hated mathematics growing up, but I felt this in my third year of high school. Never went to my maths class. I didn't know about algebra. But in my third year's class, this is like when we started learning a little bit of chemistry in our maths class. Like a little basic physics, basic chemistry. And because the teacher was so good, we became like good friends, Sir Jester. He made the subject for me really enjoyable. And we would, because me and my friends were so bad at it, we would stay back every time. We felt good learning about it, and at the same time, it's third year, we're about to start uni. We're gonna struggle if we don't know this shit. So we started learning it, and I felt a bit of an obsession, even if I wasn't really good at it. But that learning curve, that's it. That's the learning curve.
Yeah.
Made me feel like, or it gave me visions of possibilities with learning this thing. And that's with a lot of the stuff that I did when I was doing blacksmithing. When I was getting that big learning curve, it felt like I was gonna be something. I would feel better if I become better at this. And I just got so obsessed with it. The process was so good, it was beautiful, and then I feel rewarded every time I finish when I get the finished product. But this is something that I always thought about the last 5 years. This is when my parents would tell me, like, you have to stick to one. You're doing a lot of things, but you have to stick to one. And as I'm getting older, the pressure starts kicking in my head, and I'm like, every time I'm feeling obsessed with something, I'm feeling like, am I gonna switch careers again eventually, or I'm doing barbering now. I'm so obsessed with it. Am I gonna change again? Like, I started with doing wood stuff, and then I switched to um, metal stuff, and then I switched again, and my mom and dad are like confused. What are you doing? What are you doing? And I feel like at some point last year I realized that I just want an escape. I just wanted an escape. I was like sitting down. I was like, why am I thinking like this? Why am I changing my mind all the time about things? And I sat down and I started thinking, and I started getting into meditation, and I'm like, I just want an escape. I always feel like when I do something creative, it takes me out of wherever I am now, and I feel like I'm escaping the world in a way with my own. I feel so conscious for some reason doing these things. Like, I'm so aware. It's like the most conscious feeling I could ever feel, and that feels so good. And yeah, man, that's in that escape moment. I think for me that equates to obsession. When I feel like I'm escaping this is so hard to explain, but every time I feel like I'm escaping doing the thing I love, as a third person view, other people see it as obsession, but for me it's like escaping. Yeah, so I don't know, man. It's like it's a really deep thing to talk about that I could probably elaborate more.
For like hours.
But yeah, for like hours.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to like break it down in my head right now, but it's like
So you said when you retreat back from your obsession, my question was, so you retreat back, macro, all the things that you've done with barbering and blacksmith, does it make you feel good because you can see the bigger picture? And or like you can think a bit bigger when you step back? Or do you feel something
better?
else? Yeah. Like, does it make you keep going because you can see the big picture, and because you like to control and see things as a creator? Is that the way of sort of pushing forward and being a bit more obsessed?
Okay, I think I get it.
The bit like how you see it. Just answer it like how you see it.
As the way I see it is now at this point, because it took me a while to understand what I'm going through.
Yeah.
There was, before I even realized that I was just trying to escape this real world that we're in. Before I understood that, like probably give me 2 years, 1 year ago, I felt like I wasn't going anywhere. It felt like I was going in circles like this. I'm changing careers, and then I'll go back, and I'm not moving forward. I was going circles. And because of that reflection of whether or that pressure that I felt, if I'm gonna change careers again, that made me want to stick to barbering. I said, this is the last, like, I'm gonna spend a lot of time doing this master this craft before I would move somewhere else. Because I never even gave a chance, or I never gave
anything a chance.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Even if I gave 3 years in blacksmithing, I got good at it, but there's a lot more to learn, and I didn't give that bit that I missed a chance for me to learn it. But also because of the circumstances, I would have done it. Even if I go back now, I miss making, pounding the hammer and the anvil. I miss it. Even if I go. So when I go back home, let me just start this timer. again. But so when I go back home now, I still feel the urge to do it. But inside me, it's like every time I sit down and reflect, there's this thing inside me saying, what if you didn't leave your country? You know, you could have, because the blacksmithing in the Philippines used to be very big, and now it's a dying art. It's like Philippines was so well known for having swords and blades during the wartime, lapu-lapu time, or traditional blades in the Philippines are like really well known, and now it's a dying art, and some people are still trying to preserve the art.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was one of them during that time. I felt like I was trying to do something for the art.
You had like you belonged in a community.
Yeah, I had a community with me. I have a lot of friends. I was like 16 and I had friends who are like 30, 35,
Yeah.
who makes slingshots, who makes whips for rodeos. And they were inviting me. I was like 17, 16, and they were already inviting me to go rodeo with them, with the bull, like riding the bull like that. And I felt like I was part of it, but I left it and I felt bad for doing that. And at the same time, I feel good because I'm part of a different community now. But going back to your topic, or to your question, I feel like there's a direction of where I'm going now. And if I didn't go through those circles before, maybe barbering would have been the middle circle, and I left. These are like the possibilities in my head. I would have done something else, like that's 2 circles, and then another circle, barbering, and then I left barbering, and maybe I'm doing accounting now, for example,
Yeah.
you know? It could have been that. So now I just feel grateful for where I am, and that I'm going through a straight line. Maybe it's a bit zigzag, but there's this quote that I want to share. Who said it? From the book.
That's what a diligent guy looks like. Got a book and everything. Show them your book, bro. Where are you getting the book from? Actually, show this.
I'm currently reading the Tao of Wu by the RZA from Wu-Tang Clan. And there's this quote that I read the other day from Ralph Waldo Emerson. The voyage of the best ship is a zigzag line of 100 tacks. So
Sheesh.
it goes up like that. It never is a straight line. Because imagine this, if you go in a straight line, when you fall down, it goes down. But if you go in a zigzag, when you fall down, it couldn't go down. You kind of go there, and then there, and then there.
Yeah.
So it's a better process if it's a zigzag. And I feel like that's a good thing. Mine is probably a bit spiral like that. But it takes time to go down. It's like building the foundations.
100%, yeah.
Yeah. And because it's a creative thing, I could apply different things, the way I think in that creative field, and the way there's like transferable skills that you could, transfer in filming. There's some filming techniques that you could transfer now to barbering,
100%.
things like that. And especially now in this generation, it's like, wow, that's a blessing now. Before, probably old school time, people would judge you for doing 3 other things, but now it's like, damn, you're blessed for having
100%, yeah.
2 other things on your backpack or in your pocket.
Yeah, then definitely, because we're at an age now where we're pretty much mature. I still think like a 5-year-old, but I'm kidding.
Me too.
We're in a stage where we have to consider economical stuff as well, like COVID happening, and I think being able to have at least 2 or more will get you prepared to that. And as you said, I can relate to having multiple skill, but when you master each skill, you actually realize that there's skills that bounce off each other. You know, with, for example, in barbering, head assessment, we touch people's head. We learned about different conditions of head. In nursing, we do, every time we take care of people, we always assess their mood, if they're okay, how responsive are they.
And like the pain test and
you do a pain assessment, and then when you change, actually in aged care, when you change the continence pad, the big diapers, you're not actually just changing it, you're actually assessing if they have a bruise, a skin, and that sort of stuff. And it's very, and not just that, like how to communicate to elderly. And now I understand when people come in barbering, you know, sometimes people having a bad day, or just gotta, it's not all about you sometimes, it's always about what you're doing. Yeah, it's good.
And how you're providing value to that other person that you're treating.
Exactly right. And then it's always a zigzag, man. It's like there are things that when you look back at now, that big problems that you had, like that really push you all the way down. You know, it's crazy. You look back at it and like, wow, if that thing didn't happen to me, I would have not been the strong person I am today. Yeah,
that's true. And everyone talks about that, like failures and success, like how that goes hand in hand, because that's like a zigzag.
100%. I actually kept questioning that until before COVID. I think I was very privileged before COVID, the opportunities I had, but I didn't see it that way. Like after that, when I started getting into barbering, I leaned on to more communicating with older people, not necessarily 80s. People are in different stages, like families, 40 years old, 50 years old. And I always asked for validation of, is it always like a straight line, or what are your experiences? And they said, they always have the same answer, man. It's not fun when it's always straight. You know, when you get something that you want so quick, it's different. It hits different. Whereas if you struggled for it, you value it more different as well.
But there's no way to make it straight though. Like if you try, it's not gonna go 100%, straight.
Yeah, it's never straight. Which is good.
You try so hard. I don't know if you had it, but I tried so hard making my life straight. As much as I can. Yeah. But fuck, like if you put it in the fucking cupboard, you pull out the clothes, there's gonna be fucking creases everywhere. Even if you iron that shit so much, it's gonna get creases, man.
I think with what I see with Roy, we're sort of similar, because people who are happy like this and are very calm and controlled under stress, it takes a lot of violence or stress to be able to control, you know, because you know, it's crazy, like growing up in different country. Not that there's also people who from this country are very good with that kind of aspect, but for a person, if you see a very happy person, very positive, very always pushes you, people like that been through a lot, you know. From a psychological standpoint. Cool. Yeah, crazy stories, Roy. Crazy stories.
Yeah. It's kind of leaking now. Like there's this exercise that I used to do when I wake up in the morning. It's like a pocket exercise. You try to remember a memory pocket, a small circle of memory when you were younger. Yeah. You start writing about it, and it starts to open up like that. So for example, I remember something when I was 7. There was this time I was writing my blog post about spiders. I started writing about it in my notebook. I used to play spiders before. I used to play with spiders. And I started writing it, and then I remember it kind of opens up like that, the memory. And I think that's a good exercise to do. I just want to share that exercise, like a memory pocket, because I'm feeling it now. Now that you're asking me these questions, I'm seeing my whole life. Yeah. Like memories in my whole life, and I'm starting to like put the pieces together. I'm like, oh shit, it's so clear. Ta-da! Yeah. So in the morning when you wake up, try to remember a memory when you're a kid. Write it down, write a few words, and it's gonna start opening up. And it's a good way to journal. 100%. Yeah, journaling doesn't have to be what's happening right now. You can go back, and when you look back to your childhood, that ties up a lot. That connects to how you're experiencing things right now, and I like to go back and forth like that. That's just something to share. For the people who's watching, you should try that out.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's really good. Yeah, I think definitely gratitude is another thing, because sometimes you spiral a lot without writing things, and writing is proven to be very effective, that you could maybe visualize things a bit better or understand things better when you write stuff, because you don't know how far you've come until you actually see it from the bigger thing.
Yeah.
You know, and you don't appreciate much, and you think you're always struggling because you're a certain. There's actually one person, Mr. A. Lin or Andrew Lin. He actually made this brand, one of his thingies. But
nice.
He told me one day. I think I told him something about, like, I'm used to always struggling, and you know, because I'm from third world, yada yada yada. And then what he said kind of humbled me down, because he said, you know, a man from, say, Africa had a broken arm, right? And you're over here, you know, with your problems. And basically what he was saying, that is his achievement less than yours? You know, so from that saying, I think what I got was everyone starts from zero, no matter what kind of lane you are, how disprivileged you are. Everyone starts from zero, and you just gotta be thankful every time you achieve something, because it's not really a race. It's everyone's progress is different.
It's your own journey. Yeah. So even if you compare your life, have you watched Parasite?
Yeah, Parasite. The animated one. I didn't watch the real life one.
The real life. There's a scene, I haven't watched it too, but I saw this scene where they compared the life of a rich person and the life of a poor person. They did it on a split screen. And they have their same morning routine, but in a different environment. Other one's really small, other one's really big. But it shows that you're rich, you're privileged, you're poor. We adapt because we're like meant to adapt. And if we're adapt to that privileged life, we're gonna have problems adapting to, like, either, you know, we always want to, as humans, I think we always want to strive better.
100%, yeah.
So even if you're rich, you want to be more, or it's either you're so privileged that or you're so lazy, because you're so privileged, you're so lazy that you fall into different problems.
Yeah.
But if you're poor, you have your own problems. You try to think that the rich doesn't have their problems. But man, everyone's got problems.
Yeah,
man.
actually,
it's crazy.
They got bigger problems too.
Yeah, if you're adapted to that, then you have a better problem to fix. Even if you're down here, you got a problem to fix. It's always like that, you know? And there's this artist, Tom Adair. He's a very nice client, and I was doing a documentary about him. I'm still gonna edit the film, but his art is like that. It's very pretty. It looks pretty. Outside, it's all like houses in Miami or different places, but he does that to show that it's all just a facade. People show they're rich, they're happy, life is happy, life is good. But if you go inside, man, even if, like, you know, the richest people, the prettiest, most handsome looking people have their fucking mad ass problems.
Yeah.
Just like you, like, fuck. Handsome problems.
Wow.
Bogey problems.
But definitely lately I learned that you're more, this guy, I can't expose him, but, you know, this guy got more pull than me, believe it or not. But anyways, I think from COVID realized that it's good to just, yes, to be rich is a goal and to hustle hard is a goal, but, you know, definitely remember to enjoy your family, number one, you know, people that you spend time with, because you never know, man.
You never know, fuck.
Never know what happens next. It's life is a bit more fast paced recently, and all these things are very unpredictable. So, yeah, be thankful. More comes when you're appreciative of what you have. Definitely.
That's a crazy thing about life. Sometimes you're here, And sometimes you hear, even if it's not you, you know, the people around you, you never know what will happen.
Yeah,
Fuck.
you never know. It's crazy.
Crazy. Damn.
Okay, what's next, Roy? What's next? What's the time looking?
It's
time?
5:42.
5:42. Sick.
Yeah.
So, let's lean in a bit more into barbering, shall we?
Yeah. Actually, I never answer your question about like skills and scissors and obsession about that. I've got something to say to that, I think.
Okay.
But can you reframe a question for me? Like,
So, for example, for me, there's my first ever boss in barbering said, do the thing that is the most hardest first, because if you keep running away from it, you'll never do it. So for me, I got angry, man. The scissor flick thing, I could not be able to do that. So what I did,
what, like,
yeah, before I bought the scissors,
yeah.
I promised myself I would never buy a scissor until I can do a scissor flick. So I got the dummy fake scissors, and then I just kept practicing that in the morning.
Yep.
My dad thinks I'm crazy. I look at the mirror.
Yeah.
Like something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Like skills, techniques. Gotcha.
Yeah, like more technique.
Yeah.
Something barbering related.
It changed. I think learning clipper work, learning fading is completely different than learning scissor work, it's just a different learning process, I think. Because when we learn fading, we have this image of a perfect fade in our heads, right? Because of social media, we try to recreate this fading, and we just keep doing it and doing it and doing it, thinking that we're getting closer and closer and closer to that perfect fade.
Yeah.
So what I did was just practice on fading. Every time I get a client on my chair, this was when I was cutting at home, and I was charging $5. I would, because you're charging $5, these people know your shit. So you just fade their hair. That's all I do. Just fade their hair. I would do 5 haircuts a week or something with my student accommodation building mates. Just fucking start fading, and then it feels like, yo, I'm getting better. Take a photo, and then 1 month later I look back, fuck, that was a shit fade, but I thought it was good.
Yeah.
So that makes you want to do more. And then you start seeing this pattern of every 2-3 months you improve, and you look back, and shit, I can do better. I'm getting better. So that just kept going and going and going and going. Until I feel like my fade was decent at some point.
I think your fade, from the first time I met you until now, I think definitely
Has gotten better.
Yeah. Not even better, bro. Like, some
Yeah,
Menspire stuff. Getting on the Menspire stuff.
But yeah, it's like
Humble.
it's just constant trial and error and reflecting. That's like what you said last time. Always reflect, because if you don't see your progress, it's like you're running in the dark.
Yeah.
You're running in the dark. You gotta run, look back a little bit, see where you are, and then keep moving forward.
Nice.
And then even now, it's like it's still a forward line. I have so much shit to learn when it comes to fading. And then scissor work, I just start seeing this, and it's the same for scissor work, to be honest. It's a different process, different techniques. Because clippers, I was always natural, because I've been doing it since I was young, like just the flick of the clipper, taking out the lines. It's more like training the eyes that I had to develop, and techniques that would spread out the fade more, or keeping a low fade, or trying not to bring the fade too high. But with scissors, it's different, because I never touched the scissor. I would always just like, and then when I started cutting hair, I would cut the top with the scissors, fucking randomly, like lift it up with the comb and whatever is there, just cut it, and then next. It works like that, and then if I see some choppiness, I'll just start bashing it with the thinning scissors, And
Same,
it looks
same.
blended,
Yeah.
you know? At some point it looks blended or it looks butchered. But yeah, that's when I started learning about scissors when I went to Enzo's class. I saw how they did the scissors and I'm like, oh shit, that's like completely different. I didn't even know about men's spire and all that. And at this point, there wasn't that much Instagram posts about like crazy shape of like, I never knew you could make shapes like that with scissor work.
Yeah.
And that got me obsessed again. And it happened lockdown. Did we go to the seminar lockdown? Or
Yeah, it was
before?
around there.
Like in the middle or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I went to Enzo, went back home, I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna buy 10 mannequins from eBay, the $30 ones. And lockdown, the whole time I was just mannequin.
There you go, obsession.
Square layers,
Yeah.
square layers. And there's a lot of videos that I took. I couldn't even like section the hair proper. I don't know how to section the hair. And then I didn't know how to like, my fingers was, after a few cuts, my fingers was like cramping up because of like getting it right like this, getting the shape right. But you only focus on what you're doing really. You don't until you've done enough where you can start seeing it as a whole. Like when we look at the fade, it looks good here, but when you step back, it looks shit at the beginning. And I was at that point, like I was just trying to get this thing that I'm seeing right. But actually I was suffering with my body position, things like that. So I started thinking about that and I started practicing in the mirror and it just got like easier and easier and easier. And even now I still struggle with scissor hair, especially like, I think longer hair is easier, but like mid-length, whether or not you're gonna slick it back or just leave it messy or you're gonna taper this.
Yeah.
I could make it look good, but I still struggle. If you know what I mean. Sometimes you can make it look good, but you know that you struggle with that haircut.
I think I'm always worried about how they're gonna wear it after when they get out of the shop. It looks nice when you start it,
Yeah.
but are they gonna style it the same? Like,
Yeah. It could be different.
Yeah.
And especially with the cross graduation, I always find the main problem I had was like,
For context, graduation is building weight. This is the head. You're building weight like that.
it's just a gradual
Build up of
build
weight.
up of weight.
Yeah. Layering is.
It's 90 degrees and up. I don't even know what.
Removal of weight.
Removal of weight.
Yeah.
Internally.
Yeah, internally removing weight, and graduation is building weight. I don't know the degrees. You know the degrees, but
Yeah, but
I'm bad at
that's
mathematics.
that's the only thing I knew about layering until I went to Lee and Owen's elements class. But yeah, I just knew what it does, I think, but I didn't know how to explain it to people.
Okay.
Like when you graduate, you know that it's gonna be heavy, and that's the problem. I didn't know how much angle.
Anything, I think, from what you said.
So
anything that goes. So you're graduating. So that's like the half of the 180.
Yeah.
So anything below 90 is graduation,
Yeah, and everything above.
and then
that.
once it
That's
91 plus is layering.
layering.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah. If you pull it 90 degrees, it's almost like a layer because it folds down like
Yeah.
that.
It's like a square layer. You're
Yeah.
doing it.
And once you go into the round of the head here, this has to travel more. Than
Oh, we
this.
could go for hours in this stuff.
Yeah. But man, you went to Viva, so you will go
Nah.
for hours in this shit.
Another stigma that is to be broken.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go. Do it!
In barbering, continuous education for free? How much did you pay for your last one? Your last education course, how much you pay?
Almost $3,000.
$3,000.
Like
3 with 3 zeros.
Yeah, $3,000.
Yeah. Why? Because you want to give the best to your clients, and you have to lose money in this industry. You have to lose money a bit first and build it up back. That's why we charge the prices we have. Is tools, bro. Don't get me started about tools. We can talk all day about tools.
Yeah, fuck.
Tools, education, and you don't just want to pay for random online stuff because everyone can be an educator these days. It's not hardbound education rule yet,
Yeah.
but you want to be paying premium for the best people in the industry. And yeah, man, and finish with the obsession, right? Finish with that. Anything you got to say with that?
Oh, I got a lot of things to
Yeah,
say.
you had a lot of things to say.
I think with that as well, I've noticed a lot of people, a lot of barbers, especially new ones. Again, with the learning curve, I've seen a lot of barbers, new barbers online, where you know that they're having that learning curve, big learning curve experience. That's when they become so obsessed with barbering. They just want to learn. They just want to get better with their fades. And I've seen that a lot on Instagram. Yeah, people just get obsessed at the beginning stages normally. And that's when you know, after that big learning curve, that's when you know whether you want to keep doing it or not. Because that's when it gets boring at some point. It has to, it doesn't have to be boring all the time or have fun all the time. But there's a point where it's like, you don't know where you're going.
Yeah.
It's like, you've normalized your learning. And you're like, shit, what do I do now? Like,
and do you think that's where networking and going out to events, like break it off, not just keep cutting?
Yeah. I think
read
it's
about
important.
some stuff.
Yeah. But also, I think you need to embrace that. Life is, things in life has to have a constant. There has to be a stillness before you realize you need to go up again. I think
100%.
If you just always go up, fuck, you're like.
Yeah, because we tend to compare.
Yeah, what are you learning for?
Starting stages of your career, you always compare. Or people say, why you're not doing this and you're doing that? Like, dude, give the guy a break. He's just starting, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's like so confusing. But I feel like if you learn something, you need to enjoy that thing you learned before you move somewhere else.
Yeah. Otherwise, we're not gonna get paid right now. Yeah. We're getting paid pretty decent for barbering at the moment. The culture that we're on,
compared to what it used to be.
What it used to be, yeah.
It's a lot
very decent. Yeah.
It's cool.
Sick. So, things that you wish you knew before starting barbering.
Oh fuck.
If you were back to square one, what would you tell these blokes? Maybe not spoil a lot, maybe top 2, top 3.
Yeah, but I'm always a big believer of I wish I knew nothing.
Okay.
And I was
When you
just curious. Yeah, because it just makes it's not like I wish I knew nothing. It's more like I wish, let's just say I wish I knew nothing.
Maybe more of the learning aspect, like how hard it can be, or is it okay to make mistakes? Because I think techniques, like not everyone. I think we shouldn't spoil the techniques yet. I think we should talk about like in the beginning stages of your career, like what did you wish you knew that you kept thinking about back then that is actually okay right now?
Yeah. Alright. So let me give you 3 things. Alright, let me think it through. But what did I fuck off one? Yeah, so one thing, the first one that I wish I knew is I should have documented more. First of all.
Yes, sir. What was it? Document instead of
creating.
Yes, sir.
I know
Why is that?
I think.
What's a quick summary of that? Why?
No, for someone like me, I think with documenting wise, I think I have a feeling that I documented way more than 90% of the people in the industry. Because I'm just someone with a camera all the time and I just document everything, even if it's not barbering. But I wish I did more. There's a lot of footages, because now I'm doing this content thing, especially on the Instagram. There's a lot of footages that I wish I took, even if I have so much footages of the early stages, but there were times where
I thought you should have, yeah.
no, I just felt like the haircut wasn't good enough. You know, I documented a lot, but those shots that I took, at that time I felt like it was good. That's why I took it. But I never took it when it was shit. I never took it when I felt like it was really bad. And that's like something really good to look back on. The shitty ones, it feels good, tastes better when you taste something good and then you compare it to something really shit. It just tastes better, feels better. So that's one. Yeah, because now I'm still wishing, I wish I had more footages of me cutting hair before, and especially in the Philippines. When I talk about that, like when I was 13, 14 years old, that I was cutting, I wish I had more pictures of that.
Yeah.
And like when I was cutting hair in school, in the classroom, where hair was like everywhere, around like armchairs like in school, in the classroom.
That would be crazy
It
content.
would have been such a good video of my teacher coming in. If someone just filmed it, you know, someone filmed it, my teacher coming in, and it was actually the math teacher I was talking about, because he was the advisor of that class. When he came in, he was just like, "What the fuck are you guys doing?" You know? And I wish, something like that. So if you're someone who is starting now, man, if the haircut is shit, take it, because eventually you're gonna get good haircuts. And when you have really, really good haircuts, that's all you're gonna take. But you're never gonna go back to the shitty ones. And
Indeed. That's true.
That's first. Ooh, second one. I wish I knew. Were there things that I wish I knew before I began? It's more like, not I knew, more like practices. I wish I did. Maybe that's something. I wish I was honest to myself at the beginning. I feel like a lot of beginners have this experience. I wish I was just honest. There were times where I would cut someone's hair. I knew inside me that it was bad. I knew I could have done better. But I told myself it's good enough. And I told the other person that it's good enough. But it wasn't. Or I tried to fight for the thing that I don't believe. So for example, I gave someone let me think of an example. I gave someone a one fade, and I told him, because I was still early in the stage, I told that person that it's a skin fade, but it's a one, but I keep fighting for it because I just felt like I was good already at that time. I'm like, I'm the best. I'm like, no one can stop me, kind of thing. And I'm like, that's a skin fade. I don't know if it's a good example, this one, but just being honest to your client, honest if you fucked up, just be honest if you fucked up something, because people appreciate it when you're honest to them. Or if there's something in the early stages, especially when there's something you can't do, just tell the person that you're gonna struggle with this. That's a good example, actually. If you have a scissor haircut, and because you're just beginning, you have this ego that you don't want to break if people find out you're a really shit barber. I think this is because I didn't go through school and I had to go through it this way. I had to lie to people that I had 4 years experience, 5 years.
Fake it to make it, bro.
I had to fake it. And a lot of those times I fucked the haircut up because I lied.
Yeah.
And most of the time the realization is, fuck, I wish I told him that I'm trying to learn. And he would have given me a chance, and if I fucked it up like that, he would have understood what happened. But the thing is, I lied, so they felt betrayed, and it's just a shitty day for everyone. And now if I can't do a haircut, I'm just gonna say it now, like, I'm gonna struggle with that. But if you want to do it, just do it. But if you're not comfortable for me to do it, just adios. You know?
Adios.
Or just give me another chance next time. Or I'll message you. There's this Afro guy. I haven't done much Afro, but there's Ozzy from the Run Club. He's like what is that? He's like he's got Afro. Enzo actually cuts his hair, but we go running together. I see him all the time. Used to, on a Saturday, and he's got Afro hair, and he tells me, cut my hair, and I'm like, I'm not so confident cutting Afro hair at this point. And I'm like, I'm gonna get better, and I'm gonna message you when I'm ready. That's what I said. And we're cool, you know. But I feel like his hair is easy to cut. To be honest, it's just like the sides. He has dreadlocks, or he got dreadlocks.
Oh,
just
yeah.
the sides.
Yeah.
So I think
Afro texture, you're saying?
Yeah, but it's a soft Afro, so I think I can do it.
Easy.
Yeah.
You can do that.
Yeah.
King fades, bro.
Yeah.
You've been fading too long.
Yeah, that's just an example.
Yeah.
I feel like, do you have experience like that where you said you didn't, or you knew you didn't know how to do it, but you did it anyway, and you said, I know how to do it, kind of thing?
Yeah, I think at the start, before, because in Biba you don't get taught the men's graduation towards a certain point. So between that, I was just YouTube. So scissor cut was a very hard thing to do. But then Biba had a space when we were doing barbering. Like, they know we're gonna fuck up because we're students. That's why they're charging a small price. But then definitely, I think there were some haircuts that I'll say, like for example, if their hair texture doesn't suit it, and then I'll think that they can suit that. Like for example, they have fine hair. You can't really go too hard on a skin fade or whatever. You'll have to do like a one up, right? Because the hair is thinner and will appear like a skin fade because of that texture. So I did it because I thought I could do it, and I just said, oh.
No, didn't work.
Well, it was too late. I was already I already put it in. So I had to commit.
Yeah.
And I just, share the phone, and then, hope for the best that it didn't get angry, but I think
what happened?
I've experienced.
Yeah. But did you say that this would suit you? Did you say it to them?
I think he showed a photo. I think that.
Oh, you just said yes.
Then my consultation skills were still building when I just started. So I'd always agree to what they think they'd look good in. But definitely as I got better and to where we are now, I would assessment again, and then you'll say the possibilities, what will happen if you do the haircut. That's the thing that I wish, that be transparent to your client. Be solid, like, hey, this is your hair texture, this and this will happen, up to you if you want to do that, or we can do that. And
just laying out the problems or the
just the
fixed
possibilities,
factors, the fixed factors that they have.
Why, exactly.
Because some white people would show Afro hair and yo, this wouldn't happen.
100%.
And you just have to tell them that you can't have that. And I learned that from Renee, because Renee's she knows, if she knows the fixed factors and someone shows them a haircut that would kind of look similar, but it wouldn't be exactly the same. Because people, when they come to the shop, they have this expectation of a haircut that they're gonna live with. And sometimes those expectations wouldn't work for their hair texture, hair type.
Yeah, definitely.
And you just need to learn how to say, nah, you can't get that, man. You can't get it. And I still struggle with that too.
Yeah, something as well, that saying no sometimes, very hard at the start, but you learn. You get to, when you get pissed enough, you say, when you get angry enough, you say no, but try start doing it.
That loves you, man.
Try start doing it earlier in your career. Say no. Cultural values that made you as a person today that you brought from Philippines.
Ooh.
non-barbering related?
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a lot of values that my parents instilled in me, and especially were Chinese, or like traditional. Even if I don't speak Chinese, my mom does, my dad a little bit, because they went to Chinese schools. But the tradition of that is just really strong, and sometimes I'm confused with, religion. I grew up in a Christian family. My family is Christian. Grew up playing around the church as well every Sunday. Heard a lot of Bible stories and things like that. But I think all this programmed my mind into deciding what is good, what is bad. It made me understand the values that I have. Like, yeah, it's a very subconscious thing. There's a lot of things that they do here in Australia that is normal, and for me, I just don't think it's normal. Like, that feels like a weird thing for me to do. And like what I said, drinking is a good example. My dad always set a good example in drinking. When we go out, he would be with his friends sometimes, but he would always just drink one Sun Light.
Very disciplined. So.
Very, very disciplined. But before that, when I was younger, I wasn't really, like what I said, I don't show up too much with family stuff.
Yeah.
I would always be gone and show up in dinners really late, or everyone else, my brother, my sister would be there on time. And at that time, my dad was really fat. He was just eating a lot, I think. No exercise, and he used to be skinny when he was young, and then he got fat. And he had this hole in his heart problem, and he was born with it, so the hole was really small, and as he grows older, it gets bigger and bigger. And there were times when he sleeps, he would wake up feeling like his heart stopped.
Yeah.
That's the feeling he gets. And I think that was like a calling for him, that like maybe he should start exercising.
That's crazy.
And I was like 10 years old at this time, and I'm like, I was really fat too. As a 10-year-old, I'm like fucking fat, like I was so fat. I was just, I can't really remember it, but I probably was, if my dad was fat, then most likely it's the reason why I'm fat. Like, I just see him.
Monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah. And I think Renee's there. But where was I? It's like,
Your dad gained weight.
yeah, so he started going for runs. He started jogging every Sunday. And I remember going with his first jog, and we were like, I don't know, 100 meters, and we were destroyed. We were both like, fuck, how do people do this?
Yeah.
And I was 10 years old, I can't even run. And after that, I was like, fuck, I can't do this. So he kept going. He's like, and that time I was a kid. He was older with a purpose. He knows why he's doing it. And he just kept going. Every Sunday he would run from like 1 kilometer to 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers. And slowly he started losing weight. He had to lose weight because he had too much cholesterol in him. And fuck, 1 year later, he's like the fucking fittest guy I've ever seen. And he starts running like 4 times a week, 5 a.m. in the morning.
And again, he set an example for you to...
Yeah, and I'm like, yo, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And it's like, he doesn't miss. Like 5 a.m., boom, out of the house. He starts running 10K. And then he started running all these marathons, like full marathons. He wasn't fast, but he would finish it. And then, yeah, just set an example. And things like that. If here drinking is normal, even in the Philippines, drinking is really big. But inside me, if I go out drinking, I'm not like a big fan of it.
Just here. Magics.
Just here in the show. But it's like, I would go out. There was a phase I would go out and drink, but inside me, I'm like, I don't know what it is, but inside me, I just don't like it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the reason why. That's like a value, not even a value. It's more like it's just a programming thing, I guess. Yeah. And there's a lot more. There's some habits that I built throughout, especially I think Renee was saying, because I take the toilet seat down all the time.
Ah, shit. Yeah. Nice.
And that's because my sister...
Ladies always do. Culture-wise.
Because we grew up in one room. Like, my family growing up, we stayed in one room, in a king-size bed, 5 of us. We would sleep there and we used one toilet. And...
So you close it when you flush it?
Yeah, my sister would get mad when me and my brother would fucking...
There's actually a study to that, which is very good, that when you flush the toilet with an open seat, there's more, the bacteria actually flops everywhere, whereas if you close the seat and flush it will just stay in the area.
Yeah. I think...
Which is a good habit.
Yeah. And now I just don't know why I do it, but I look back and it's like, it's my sister, because she would get really mad if like we don't wipe it and close it.
But then again, the smallest things you do in life that shows what kind of person you are. People don't know, but you do it subconsciously.
Yeah. Small
you
things.
You don't want to judge people, but on those small things, you can see what you're gonna come into.
Yeah. Yeah.
But not everyone's the same,
Not everyone's the same. But yeah, small things like that. And one of my old previous housemate, I don't think he's gonna I don't think he's gonna get through this
part of the...
this deep into this conversation, but should I talk about this? I knew he doesn't have a role model in his life, and there are habits that I saw in him that I learned from my dad, and that kind of clicked into me like, oh shit, that should be like, he's not aware of these things, but if he had someone to teach him that, it's like, because it's subconscious, you learn it as you grow up when you were young, and because he never had that, he just doesn't know about it. Just putting the keys on the right place every single time. My dad used to just tell me, like, he would be there watching, where do I put my keys? He's like, put it back. And that's like a programming thing. You just start doing it, and now it's like, you just do it. And it makes me understand the world, I guess, in a better way. Like, if you see something and you assess it, you observe it, that's another thing. Observation. I became a fucking National Geographic observer in Australia, because the culture is so different that you...
And when you're new, you have to adapt. Like, you have to observe, especially in anything you do new, you have to.
Yeah, I feel like a fucking animal, like observing people here, seeing, because I don't know what to do, like, how do I adapt in this new society, new place, this unknown world for me. And you have to observe how people move, how people talk to each other. The conversations are different here than in the Philippines. And that's something my dad would always tell me. It's like, observe. Always observe. Don't talk too much. Don't say a lot of shit. Don't say things if it's unnecessary. Just say the things that needs to be said, and that's it. Observe. Because they always say people that talk a lot, what's that saying? When it's like, when someone talks a lot or talks too much, means that it's either they're insecure, they're anxious about their life, or people who complain a lot. That's like, that they're complaining about everything because there's something that is not aligned with their life, and it just shows vulnerability.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the first law of power, I think. Nah, that's different. It's a law of power.
Yeah, you read too many books, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really good.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, my man. Lastly, very good reflection.
The first take was way better, bro. I went circles on this one.
That's alright, I can always edit.
Yeah.
So lastly, retreat. What do you do when you retreat from your busy lifestyle with barbering and as a student? What do you do to retreat? Like, I heard you do a lot of books and
What's retreat? More like
retreat, like when you say you take a break and look at stuff, what's your retreat go to?
oh, but
Do you read books or do you
Yeah,
just...
so no, books is part of it, like part of the busy. For me, it's a discipline thing. Like, I like to discipline myself with things that I don't like doing. I used to hate reading, and now it became a habit that I just do, and it doesn't even take me away from things, but I know that if I read, I learn things, I expand my mind, and I think that's part of the daily life. You can put that on this side, on the right side, and left side is to retreat. For me, it's walking, taking the train, taking the bus, and just looking outside the window, things like that. Going out by my own. I love it when I'm alone. No one to talk to, just me and myself. It's like an addictive thing that I've found in lockdown that I'm like, fuck, I love
being alone.
being alone. Like,
It's actually a hard thing to get used to.
I love it.
I definitely know I used to be someone who actually I've done it since I was a kid. However, I thought everyone was like that. But I have some friends that
Just can't live
if
without
they're
other
alone,
people.
if they, for example, walking, if they don't walk with someone, they won't do it by themselves because they think it's pointless.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's a hard thing to do, I think, but because lockdown was lockdown, there was no other choice but to walk and be on my own mind, and it was like, wow, it was such a good thing. And I meditate every morning. I just meditate. It's like a part of the routine. Just as soon as I wake up, even 2 minutes minimum, because it's mainly the doing bit that is hard.
100%.
Yeah, once I get into the 2 minute mark, if I'm too busy, 2 minutes fine, but normally I just push it to 5 and to 10 to 20 sometimes, and that's how I not even reflect. I'm just being conscious of how my thoughts, how my thought is processing. Yeah, and I think one thing that I love doing is just going for a walk. That's it.
100%. Yeah.
Without music, without anything, just listening to nature, going to parks, and just working out, running. Another one, running is like, takes you out of the outside. It feels like an escape thing as well, but it leaves you and yourself into this constant battle of, do I keep going? Do I keep running? And once you're in that state, you kind of go deep, you find yourself, there's like this second persona that starts talking to you when you do hard things, the second voice that wants you to stop. And I like to hear that voice sometimes, like, fuck, I like that battle, the devil and the angel kind of talk. That's a good way to reflect. And journaling, another one is journaling.
Too popular.
Fucking scammers, bro. Yeah, it's scammers. But yeah, it's journaling is fucking huge. That's like something I've done since I was really young. Just writing down my thoughts. Writing poems. I used to write a lot of poems. Writing rhymes.
Yeah.
Things like that. I've got my rhyme book there.
Do you feel like when you write something, you release that information and then it makes you it makes way for new information for your brain to process.
Yeah, I think the processing, it's like
It's like a USB when you release the files. Like you can put more files in.
yeah, it's like not even a release. It just makes you. Oops. It lays out the things. It's like
A bit more clear.
mapping it out.
Okay,
Yeah, kind
yeah.
of thing. You just. Because sometimes your brain can only see one thing at a time, and like putting it down here and then trying to find the connections between these thoughts could help you out, or just writing it down. Sometimes, you know, that feeling when you have a project that you did and you read it out in class, and as you read it you realize where you fucked up. And I think that's the same with journaling. As you write it, you realize, oh shit, I'm thinking about this. Oh shit, yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
Roy said some really good examples, and I think one thing that needs to be brought up is that mental health in barbering is really important. There's some days that it's not going to go well, so if you're not the type to reflect on your own, you should definitely go talk to people you're comfortable with. And yeah, just learn to love yourself, man, and just, you know, take time to reflect. And yeah, as Roy said, he's given some good examples, and we should really, number one, mental health, number one.
Yeah, man.
Thanks, Roy. Got some really nice, interesting stories that I've never heard before.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Never talked about it too.
Yeah, so is there anything, last words you want to say before we end this almost 2-hour podcast?
Nah, man, I said it
You
enough.
said it. Okay, you said it
enough
out.
today.
So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. This is Quentin Barbero on behalf of me and Lil Asian Barber. We thank you very much. We hope that you have a very happy, healthy and wealthy week ahead.
Stay humble.
Stay humble, grind hard, stay healthy, stay happy. We'll see you soon. Peace.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.